There you go, there you go. There go my people, that's my little brother. He ain't so little no more. Baby, you cannot be in the sink. What are you doing? Hey, okay. Yeah. All right, family. Let's get this out of here. How we get this out of here? Got to relearn everything. We in the building or what, fam? What we doing? What we doing? What we doing? What we doing? What's going on? How we doing? All right. I see we're back in the building. My name is Tim Black. Welcome back to the Tim Black Show. Glad you can be here. I want to say what's up to my people. My people, my people, my people. What up? All right. So the voice, okay, this how it is. A brother has kids. They go to daycares, they bring home bugs. Baby was sick. Mrs. Black got sick. Mrs. Black got better. She got sick again. And then because we share everything, your brother got sick. So most of the symptoms are throat, flu, phlegmy, whatever. We all good, man. That's what you do, man. It's how we operate when we got the little peoples that go with the bigger, because kids are just messy. They're just walking bacteria. Shout out to Mrs. Black and my beautiful babies, and shout out to all those people out there who know exactly what I'm talking about. You get it. So, hey. Yo, man, a couple people called me, man. Fam, I'm bad with phones. Text me. I think somebody got a little pissed with me because I didn't pick up. So, text me, man. I'm like my grandbaby now. My oldest granddaughter, Naomi. She's like, don't nobody call nobody no more, Pop-Pop. Come on, Pop-Pop. Come on. Text Pop-Pop. So here we go. So if you're here, okay, moderators, I want to thank my moderators for being here. What's up, moderators? Thank y'all for being here. Elizabeth, Looney, Nene, Nene, and my brother, Rain and Tears. Let's see where we at here, fam. Can we do this? First order of business. First order of business to do all things correctly, in order. Let's do this. So if you were scrolling online today, you probably ran into Dolly Parton's likeness and you heard the news of her passing. You probably also noticed that there were a lot of Black Americans who were paying tribute to Dolly Parton. And some of you may say, what's that got to do with us? That's country music. We're going to have to educate you about who started country music. But it's not just country music fans who are praising Dolly Parton. Black Americans always had a fond place in their hearts for Dolly Parton. A lot of love for Dolly. Why? Because Dolly Parton never faked the funk. She was a real one. When Whitney Houston took I Will Always Love You, and she made it a global anthem, Dolly took $10 million from the royalties that she earned as the writer of that song. She didn't stash it away. Now, she invested it right back into a historically black neighborhood in Nashville, Tennessee. And she called it the house that Whitney built. The house that Whitney built, okay? When folks pushed back on civil rights, Dolly didn't mince words. Of course, Black Lives Matter, she said. When she found out the name of her dinner show carried painful history, she didn't get defensive. She changed the name of the show overnight from Dixie to Dolly. She said, I'm not here to hurt anybody. Yeah, she didn't need to bring in a PR team to address the issue for her. She had nobody on podcasts fighting her fight. She just went and did the right thing. She came from real Appalachian poverty. She understood the working class grind, and she gave back without demanding praise. That's not PR. That's respect. Reciprocity and real solidarity. Not that corporate sponsored, political party affiliated, poll tested PR funk. Tonight we give Dolly Parton her flowers. Thank you, Dolly. You were one of the real ones. Well, let's get into the show, folks. Let's do it. Welcome to the Tim Black Show. Welcome to the most dangerous show in America, the Tim Black Show. We do this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are not a political news show. We are a commentator show, which covers politics, breaking news, and black culture. We do our best to do a good job at that. I got a couple stories lined up for us, including Target. Is now this boycott gonna stick? And we got a horrific tragedy in Montana. We got to talk about that. A couple other stories hanging around too. Democrats, different things. Got to chop it up. We good? Here's the deal, folks. I've been kind of weighing if I wanted to approach this issue because, well, thank you, fam. I don't know how well my people are prepared for it. But then after talking to my best friend and kind of mulling it over, I figured it was good to do this. Last week, I put out a video. Well, I actually did a live show on Gary, Indiana. We talked about the blackout that occurred in Gary and how devastating it was. And then Saturday, Sunday, on Monday, I put out the segment from the almost 1 hour long live stream. A couple people had known that I'd covered the story. They were wondering if I was going to cover it. And I did cover it, as you know. I did cover it, and I put out what I think was a pretty good clip explaining what was happening. I spent a lot of time doing that clip talking about Palestine, Ohio. So here's the deal, man. 10 days without power in Gary. Over 10 days without power in Gary, Indiana. And would this have happened in a white suburb? That's the question, right? I felt like that's really what people wanted to understand. And I thought this is an opportunity to explain it. People say, man, things move so slow. It had to be race related. And I want people to try to understand. Okay. So I was asked a question and said, Tim Black, hey, why do you think Trump didn't go to Gary, Indiana? That's a fair question. It's also opening a Pandora's box of some reality checks that people need to have. And if you ain't going to get it here, you definitely ain't going to get it from mainstream media. So let me give it to you. Here's the deal, fam. You're right. Trump did not go to Gary, Indiana. Just like Bush dragged his feet on going to Katrina. But here's the deal. Trump also didn't go to the other white towns who also had power outages. That's not to defend Trump. It's not a positive. It's just reality. Yeah, I noticed that when Don Lemon had the interview with the mayor of Gary, Indiana, Don was doing his best to push the narrative, to float the question, do you think this happened because you're black? And the mayor was very masterful in the way that he answered that question. He said it was almost indistinguishable. Like he didn't really know what he said. He was like, well, of course. And then he went on to keep talking. There are many factors after he agreed. Here's the facts. If America only did neglect to black America, America would be a totally different place. What I'm trying to tell you is that I've been covering this, I've been doing this way too long to lie to you just because Democrats want in the powers that be, in the system that operates within the political environment that we have in America, just because it wants so badly to make everything race related. It wants the system requires that we keep this up. So what I'm about to tell you is not going to be favorable to the system, but it should be favorable to you. And I want you to realize I get nothing for doing this. But everything ain't race. It's just not. When we didn't have a 40-hour work week, that wasn't because black people wanted 40 hours. It was also to make sure white people wouldn't get a 40-hour work week. When white kids were dying in the mines and in warehouses, in the factories across the country, losing arms and legs, it wasn't black folks because we weren't allowed to work those jobs for the most part. It was white kids. So what I'm trying to tell you is that America don't really care about anybody if you're not wealthy, if you're not well connected. And then sometimes things are about if you're connected, if you have money, if you have power. And here's the kicker to it all. And then sometimes, definitely, things are because of race. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you, yeah, you're right and you're wrong. And you'll always be right and wrong when you have an issue and you say, that's because we were black. That's because I'm black. It's not always a straight line. It's not always that simple. But that's the way the Democratic Party wants it to be. That's the way America wants it to be. That's the way the profit centers in this country want you to see it. The NIPSCO regional data. So NIPSCO is the power company. And that power company had a number of outages in the surrounding areas. It wasn't just Gary, Indiana. Seems like that's the only one that white folks cared about. In fact, when Keith Lee went out to Gary, Indiana to help out, the famed food critic from TikTok that we all love, when a young man went down to Gary, Indiana to help folks, a lot of white folks in neighboring towns who had their power out just as long as Gary were pretty upset because they needed help too. See, the narrative that's constantly fed is that it's only black people. It's only black people, and black people are being neglected specifically. I get rude comments in my comment section on this story for one, on Facebook. Somebody was like, here we go again. Maybe it was TikTok. He says, oh my God, they always think everything revolves around you. There were a lot of people that were out of power and they aren't black. That person who said that is right in there wrong. But what that person also doesn't get is that we don't write the scripts. See, the powers that be want black people to think that black people are always targeted in these situations, even if it's not true. I mean, the mayor of Indiana did not make the storm come. It had 90 to 100-mile-an-hour winds, and where the epicenter of those winds hit Gary, Indiana. Some other counties didn't get the 100-mile-an-hour winds. Gary did. Gary got the worst of it. Sometimes the community that gets the least amount of investment, because that's really what this is about. So we want to make that conversation. We can definitely have that conversation about why was the infrastructure in such a deteriorated position going in that when you have a storm, you get hurt the worst. That I will never deny, folks, that definitely could be race related. But the natural occurrence of the winds, not so much. But the lagging infrastructure repairs that would have turned this from a 3-day outage to a 13-day outage, well, that could be race related. You understand what I'm saying? The real story is not that NIPSCO did not help black Americans because they're black. That's not the real conversation. The real conversation that Don Lemon should have had, that the Gary mayor should have had was, where was the investment into Gary from the state level that would have prevented this, that would have been, so that the poles would have been of stronger material, so that the trees that fell would have been cut. And if that would have happened, when the storm came, there would have been a lot less outages. But since we don't have the investment on the local level from the state, we end up where we are. And I want to emphasize, there'll be a lot of talking heads, and there have been over the years, who point out the bad things that happen in communities and cities across this country where we have black mayors. Well, fam, if you don't have the state money coming into the city, I don't care what your mayor is or who your mayor is, that ain't gonna make much difference when it comes to investments. You gotta have the money. You can't, just because you put a black person at the head of the table, if the access to resources is not there, what can they do? And I'm not defending a mayor that's not doing their business, that's not doing their damn job. But what I'm saying is, we also have a tendency, if we're being honest, that when we see a black mayor in a city that has problems, we look at the black mayor, we wonder what the hell you doing. Might call him sellout. Or sometimes we go to extreme. We start defending them, now realizing they were pretty much not doing their damn job either. So it goes both ways. And I'm trying to tell you, it's seldom or either extreme correct. You see, situations like this in Gary, I know it'd be so much easier if I just went with the flow and just said, we black, we get the short end of the stick. We black folks, we are put here to suffer. These people are horrible. That's what they do to us. And then I pick up my money. I pick up my money like Willie D would. I pick up my money like Earn Your Leisure would. I pick up my money like the Joe Budden podcast would. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what everybody else does. Because it's easier. Because it's lucrative. And because that's what the system wants from us. That's what the system wants this narrative to be. That's what the View wants the narrative to be. It's real simple. It's tidy. America's been running on black pain ever since we've been here. And it wants to continue to run on black pain. It's a gas-fueled engine. It does not want to switch over to electric. It won't even go hybrid if it doesn't have to. It's been working this long. Why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. See, part of the problem is this. Though it would be more lucrative for me to just make videos about Stephen A. Smith and Brandon Tatum. That's where the money is. That's why it's done. And I get it. I can't knock it. In fact, I'm gonna be covering both of those guys tonight. So I'm not gonna sit here and be holier than thou. Hell, I reached out to Business Bully and said, hey man, I need to bully some business. I need to take a page out your book. Here's the problem. Even if I take the money and just say the same stuff, they lets the doors open so I can be back in the game, really back in the game. It ain't gonna change the fact that this game is so dirty, I'll just be contributing to our own demise. I'll do better, the kids will do better, but we won't do better. What I mean by that is this. If you're a black person in power, and this is the narrative that's been set up for you to continue the narrative, right? That black people can't have XYZ because whitey. And then that's not the case in all cases, but you could go with that narrative and still get away without doing your damn job while you take care of other demographics, while you do things for other communities. Get it? Because you always have the excuse, they won't let us. We're not allowed to help us. They're against us. And that may be, look, in some cases, yeah, you may be true, but we have to make them prove that to us. We have to make them show us that it's not the leadership, it's not the choices. Who was that famous black mayor in that small town in Illinois? Tiffany Henyard. The money in Tiffany Henyard's city, in Dalton, that was misappropriated had nothing to do with white folks. The problems they have there have everything to do with the way Tiffany Henyard managed that money. That's a great example of what I'm talking about. Yes, I don't know on the Illinois level, on the governor's level, Pritzker, I don't know if we can blame him or what we can blame him for, but I do know that she was the one flying first class. She was the one booking the major hotels and travel arrangements and taking all this security and renting all the SUVs and having all the extravagant whatever accommodations that far exceeded what any other mayor had done. She was the one who did that. And that does not mean that we are not black in America. It does not mean that things are equal. But in this particular case, it does mean Gary, Indiana was hit with a major storm. That major storm seems like it really put some stink on it when it came through Gary. The winds were worse in Gary than they were most other places. And Gary was the least prepared for that. The fact of the matter is, Kanye West got his start by looking into the camera and saying what the system wanted him to say. Now, I don't know if he knew it at the time. He was basically just repeating what the Democrat talking points. Because at the time, Bush was what Trump is. And before it was Bush, it was Reagan. Before it was Reagan, it was whomever. It's never a Democrat. But when Kanye looked into the camera and said, Bush doesn't care about white people, you could insert the name of any Republican president and say the same thing, and you will do well. Because that's what the system's set up to do. There is something I would like to point out that I can't state unequivocally. It's not so nuanced. That's about this pushback that I'm getting online from a lot of conservatives for the most part. They say the reason why NIPSCO cannot go in and get your power up because it's you, Blackie. Yeah, you black people don't know how to act. You started shooting at NIPSCO when they came through. Now, first of all, let me say point blank, no worker in America should risk their life. It's bad enough you're risking your life doing your job. It's another thing to have somebody actively trying to hurt you while you do your job. No one's owed that. I don't care who the people are, whether they black, white, whatever. No worker should have anyone attack them while they do their jobs. So I'm not on that. I'm not going to justify anybody who shot at the power guys. But here's the thing. The shooting did occur. It's reported that 2 shots hit a truck, a NIPSCO truck. On night 4, someone shot at a NIPSCO assessment Jeep in Gary. Crews paused for part of one day. Then they went back out with police. That is documented. It does not account for the other 13 days. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. We have those people that believe in the narratives that are spun to them that are negative about black people, regardless of any facts. They don't look for facts. Their media doesn't tell them facts. And just like we have media that tells us the only reason why Gary was out of power is because they black. They have people that tell them black people made their own power be out because they don't know how to behave themselves. They're violent and they attack the people that were there to help them. See, both are narratives that America runs on, that America makes money from, and that will continue to perpetrate. And it'd be okay to pick up my money and try to become Kanye or have a Kanye West moment by saying the things louder or better or more to the point and hoping that D.L. Hughley shares it. But the end of the day is they're both full of shit. Gary was out of power because Gary had horrible infrastructure, because Gary had trees that should have been cut down 10 years prior, because Gary needed an overhaul and upgrades years ago, and maybe it wasn't in the budget. Or maybe somebody intentionally did not send the money that way. That's a whole nother broadcast. And yeah, somebody put 2 shots at a Jeep, a NIPSCO Jeep, a powered Jeep that was there to assess the damage. But no, it did not allocate or it did not cause a delay in rescue or in efforts for 14 days. In fact, it wasn't even an entire day. They went right back, got a cop to come out, and then there were no more shots. Violence over. Excuse over. It's also true to make the claim that it was just the storm's winds that did it would be an oversimplification. It was also the underinvestment in Gary, Indiana as a whole that put people in a vulnerable situation. Folks, this is all over the country. This is in poor communities everywhere. And yeah, those poor communities tend to be blacker communities. So I don't know. I don't know all the answers, right? I don't have all the answers, but I do have some explanations. And I do want to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. Do us a favor. If we're going to have a chance of turning things around in this country for Black America, we have to deal with reality. We have to deal with the facts. We cannot accept the narratives that are given to us by the establishment, even if they are more lucrative, even if they are simpler, even if they require less explanation, even if they, damn it, even if they feel like, I don't know, they give us a catharsis. They give us a release valve. See, because as long as we can say we can't do something because we're black and we're being obstructed, you're letting a lot of people off the hook. You're letting the Democrats off the hook. They can do a lot more than they're doing. Democrats are not some powerless little startup organization devoid of opportunity or budgets or access to resources. They somehow came up with about $2 billion for Kamala to run against Trump and lose, and they're still a party. They're not poor. They're still functioning. What could they have done with that $2 billion? So anyway. So help us by sharing content like this that tells the truth. It's so much more lucrative to just go into hate mode, to just go into the easy, direct line mode. And I want you to realize when we talk like this, when I do segments like this, those are the dangerous segments. Not calling out Godfrey. Not roasting Stephen A. Smith or Brandon Tatum. But calling out the system and the narratives, the bad media, and all those that contribute to it. All right, guys, thank y'all for tuning into this. Appreciate y'all putting up with this voice, man. I tell you. Let's get some views. Let's get some views up on some of this content, man. I got some stories. I got some clips to play. Let's play some clips. How about that? What up, people? How y'all doing? I'm Tim Black. If you just tuned in, you just missed I don't even know what that was. But yeah, we got it. We got it going on. Okay, so next. Right out of the frying pan into the fryer. Okay, finally, Target does something that I can get behind, boycotted them for. Yeah, they did this to us. This is not to people of color. It's not to LGBTQ. And by the way, there are black LGBTQ people. You know that, right? Okay. Check it out. So this is the costume that has all the country kind of focused on Target right now. Damn it. I got it somewhere. So here's the deal. As you can see, this ugly ass hamburger looking costume at the bottom here with the top hat. Well, it's reminiscent of minstrel shows. Minstrel shows are black exploitation time and era, an era that's even worse than now. It was a point in time that was even worse than now where black people were always the butt of jokes. We were their entire laugh track for American society, for the whites. And that's what they do. So this particular costume was found on the Target website. Kids' gloves under Blacklight Circus, clown, Hollywood, Halloween, costume, black bodysuit. Damn. Hide and Eek, boutique L, large. I don't know. So anyway, so people are calling to boycott this joint because they're like, how the hell could you disrespect us this way? Right? Target learns nothing. That's pretty brazen. And I really don't have a pushback for this, because, I mean, how can you defend this shit? I don't think you can, Johnson. Target put out a disclaimer. I thought I had it. What happened to my disclaimer? Well, anyway, Target says, my bad, y'all. We messed up. Sorry. I mean, what else could they really say? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Well, what else could you? Yeah. They didn't say, come on, black people. Every black family gets free money. Oh, here we go. Here it is. An apology from us. Report an offensive Halloween costume that should have never been part of our assortment. It is no longer for sale. As a company, we got this wrong, and we're deeply sorry. We know this is especially hurtful for our black guests, team members, and partners. Removing the costume is an important first step, and the company is looking closely at how this happened and what needs to change to ensure this won't happen again. All right. So I was a critic of the boycotts, DEI boycotts of Target, because I know, based on the data, that the DEI programs didn't really help black people all that much. In fact, particularly black men, they're like number 10 or 12 on the list of DEI beneficiaries. Anyway, the boycott of DEI, or the DEI ending, Target ending DEI programs. If anybody wanted to boycott Target over it should have been white women because they're the primary beneficiary of DEI programs and positions in the management field. Those guys, they're the ones that won. So I always looked at this as just another one of those PR stunts that the Democrats want to run. It's another play in order to, I don't know, have something to do, have something to put all this energy other than your own communities and what you don't have and what they've dropped the ball on a long time ago. And as long as they can look at external things, point at them and say, this is the problem. Yeah, the problem is Target. Then they changed the conversation. So I never supported that for those reasons. Don't get me wrong, I never had a problem with Black Americans deciding that they were being wronged, that Black America needed some changes, and we stood up for ourselves. But time and time again, it always seems like Black Americans are doing the heavy lifting of everyone in the country, except white guys who are straight and bodily able. I don't know the term for it. So there. But this is different. This is different. I'm still a little reluctant, only because, I don't know, a little bit. Yeah, I gotta say I'm a little bit reluctant. It's sort of like the Roadhouse steak Roadhouse, whatever. The Roadhouse thing where they have the video. People say that there's a Facebook group and the Roadhouse people are spitting on the steak and spitting in food or whatever, and everybody's like, boycott Roadhouse. And I'm like, of course, I'm down for us not eating a place that may put something in the food. I just want to point out, it don't have to be Roadhouse. It could be any place you go, okay? Second, the first story that I covered when I worked for a local newspaper in Washington, D.C. called Capitol Spotlight, where I got to go to a press conference, was a victim of false stories that were put in the media about them. It was mystical. It was Mystic Drinks. You may remember them. It was back in the 90s in the Mystic Beverage Company. I forget the name of their company. It was a brand. It was a big brand back in the 90s. Someone had put out that they were like KKK related or had ties to something negative towards Black America. So they had to go on a press tour to debunk it. And according to Mystic, it was competitors who had concocted a story that somehow their emblem or their logo or something was related to something that had something to do with Nazis or white nationalists. And this is a boilerplate thing that happens in competitive fields where we have other companies that are willing to spend money to get people to denigrate you and plant stories. So yeah, that happens too. And that leaves me always with a side eye whenever I hear a story like this. Right? Do you really think if this is happening, it's only Roadhouse? I don't know. Right? But it's just enough to make black people go, God damn it, man, we can't do anything. It just adds to a negative feeling that black people have about this country. And yeah, you never know. Racists have jobs. They're teachers, doctors, lawyers, whatever. So I can't deny the possibility, and I would never deny the possibility. But whether you're going to get an oil change for your car, to get a cake decorated for a wedding, buying a home, getting your house appraised, getting your fillings done, I don't know. Like, these people are among us, Johnson. It ain't just the restaurants. Back to Target. Damn it. Because I can go on and on, man. And I know you'd rather I don't. Here it is, man. So Target's apologizing. Should we forgive them or not? Give me a 1 up or a 0. I don't care. If you don't want to forgive them, don't forgive them.
Who cares? It's the same thing like white people can't be their favorite superheroes or they can't be their favorite celebrities because if they paint themselves black, you ignorant Negroes got to cry about blackface.
So when I saw this from Brandon Tatum, I said, here we go again. This guy has found that this guy relies, how he makes his money is rage bait. And his rage bait is going after black Americans. He's a lazy, incompetent goof. That's what he is. He's a sideshow. Because the only way he can make money, if he ain't sticking up for people he don't know and lying to the world, having some white guy put him on like Charlie Kirk, so he got to kiss ass his entire career, he's got to go after us. He sees such an uptick with the Nolan Wells thing. I guess he doesn't want his numbers to fall back. So what does he do? He attacks black people for being upset about a horrible costume that the company that put it out said they shouldn't have put out. So he disagrees with the company pulling this off the shelves because it's offensive to black Americans. He disagrees. He thinks the company should have been forced to keep it up and should keep it up because who are we to care? And it's not just Officer Tatum, fam. He ain't even really the problem. You know what the problem is? There are thousands, if not a million or so, millions of white folks who like Officer Tatum, who agree with Officer Tatum. That's the real problem. I can overlook Officer Tatum all day and keep it moving. There's other shit to worry about. He ain't nobody. But the bottom line is that there are people that praise Officer Tatum. They'll be in my comments section arguing for his right to free speech because they support him. And they agree with him. Yeah. Having a costume sold that mocks you as a human being is just the same as a white person who can't put on blackface. Yeah, that white person's being denied their creativity because they can't mock you. See?
What are you talking? But you'll wear a white face. Y'all wear a white face, and that's fine. But if somebody wear a black face, you got to associate them with minstrel shows.
He's so dumb, He's so dumb. It's like he's ninja level dumb. He is reinforced steel, titanium, the shit that's on, I don't know, the shit that builds aircraft, the spaceships. That type of shit. That's how thick his stupid level is. Family. The difference is officers, taters. It's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night, y'all. The difference is, dumb, that black people did have industries where they could mock white people. Yeah. Black Americans never enslaved white people. Now, I know some white women have you as a slave. It's a white woman that has you as a slave. That's different. But that's never happened. So the relationship, like the difference is black Americans have not degraded and owned the media and are able to create a caricature of white people on a massive scale where it becomes an industry. So if you're talking about White Girl, the movie with the Wayans, like you're comparing that to a history, a freaking industry. Well, that's just lazy. That's just, no one's that stupid. So I don't even know why I'm explaining anything, because anybody that's dumb enough to think those things are correlated or on the same plane, they don't know their colors, let alone can understand the point that I'm trying to make.
100 years ago. And this is the thing that bothers me, and this is why, to be honest, y'all ain't never gonna make it in life.
He said, y'all ain't never gonna make it in life. Maybe not, because I refuse to tap dance with white guys. I refuse to degrade black people for money. Like, to shame my sisters and brothers just to make a couple bucks. I refuse to do that. That may be a reason why I don't make it in life. I've already made it in life. Fuck. But you may make a lot more money. That's what you mean. Here's the deal, fam. If there were a way for someone to put a costume up, if this was a Holocaust costume from the Jewish Holocaust, and Jewish people wanted it out of there, he wouldn't say shit. He would be all supportive. You know, if there was a if there was a Anne Frank costume, here we go. If there was an Anne Frank costume or a costume for prisoners of Jewish prisoners from the Nazi era, from the extermination concentration camps, if that was being sold as a costume, and the ADL or Jewish folks were upset about it, and Target pulled it, you think Brandon Tatum will be up there complaining that people don't get to have their creativity? We all know the answer, right? It's real simple. Like, the logic is always there. So it's always about the money is made by shitting on black people, because there's so many racist people in America that's what they want to see. It doesn't have to make sense. It can be easily debunked. They don't care about that. They don't care. They won't even listen long enough to hear you debunk it. They'll just say he's entitled to his opinion. What they mean is he's entitled to slander you as long as he wants. And you got to take it. And if you complain about it, you just have victim mentality. This is the same type of shit Charlie Kirk was on. And now Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. And black people didn't even do it. But America's so full of shit that when he was got by one of them, and we said, that's what happens, they started firing us for saying it. You can't make this shit up.
You guys are racist, and that's going to hurt you forever. Because when you look at them saying, there's not black people in the room. So you assume that not one white, Hispanic, or other race person can make a judgment call.
No, no, that's not what I'm assuming. That's not the point I'm making at all. There are whites or Hispanics that can make judgment calls.
That's appropriate and reasonable. They have to be black to make a judgment call.
Now, being black is not the issue, man. Let's be clear, fam. Being black is not the issue. It's not that black America needs a black person to protect black people from this type of racial BS. I mean, Brandon, you're black. You wouldn't protect us. Are you being real? Your question defies reality. You're a black man who sells out black people every day. So of course not. That's not enough. If just having black people in these positions would help black people, protect black people from racism, we'd be good. The problem is, even when we get a black person in, they end up doing what you're doing. Not all the time, but too many times. When we get black people in these positions, because it's so much more lucrative to be a garden tool or to be a spoon or a raccoon, it's so much easier and lucrative to do that, such job security for you, that's what they end up doing too many times, right? So no, to answer your question, no. Color ain't enough. Ethics, something you don't know anything about. Ethics, you swashbuckling Sambo. That's what's needed. You don't have them, and anybody who cheers you on, associates with you, doesn't have it either.
Imagine if white people said this. You go to a black-owned business or something like that where black people run, they go, it's not enough white people in the room.
See, being as stupid as Brandon takes a lot of work. You got to get up and train every day, like Daniel's son in the Karate Kid. You got to go Mike Tyson level training to be this dumb. Family, white people by and large don't spend money in black businesses. That's why black businesses need to start saying we need to stop shopping elsewhere in our communities and spend our money with ourselves, because not just blacks, but Latinos and Asians, they don't spend money with us. They spend money in their community. Same place you shop, in their communities. Goofball.
Because black people ain't capable of making a fair decision, so we need more white people in the room to make decisions for white people.
That's exactly how they think. A lot of them. And that's what it is. That's exactly what you think. And you think white, but you're black. So there you go.
It won't fly. And I just got a couple clips that we'll post about these influencers crying. But you Negroes ain't crying about the young black people getting killed in the middle of the street. About the young man that went and shot them two women for no reason at the corner store. Or the young black athlete who was an aspiring athlete. He had a Houston Rockets hat on and he got killed in Compton. Because he had the wrong hat on. Y'all not boycotting over that. Y'all not talking about that.
Who the hell will we boycott? We'll boycott the gang? Who are you talking about? Sit your dumb ass down. You know how many random stories I could pick out of white? See, I actually do my job. I actually do research. I must cover a story tonight of a white man who killed his entire family. But you over here talking about this. I mean, I know you're not white, but you sure kiss a lot of white people's asses. So why are you even talking about this? You should be talking about that white man who killed his whole family. In fact, I wonder if you even cover it. I've got a feeling you won't cover it, Brandon. Why won't you cover like the 10th white guy that killed his entire family this year? I'm sure it's been many more. Why haven't you covered that? I'm going to cover it because I care about white people. See the difference? Oh, man. Yeah, I see why you had to cover it. I see why people, you know, he's so easy to go after. You know what I'm saying? God. I made a post on Facebook and I said the easiest money on the internet, the easiest money is triggering white folks. Well, that's the second easiest. The easiest money is pretending to agree with them. That gives you a lot of money. That's the easiest way to make money. Anton and Brandon, they figured it out.
No filters, just the truth.
Yeah, fam. That's enough time for Brandon, man. This guy is a cartoon character, man. What a cartoon character. All right. I wish I was able to really flow tonight. So how y'all doing? This is Tim Black Show. We're live. Go to Join Tim Black to become a member of the show. Go to All Things Education Official. All Things Education Official. And become a member of my brother, Dr. Musa Abdullah's YouTube channel. Watch 5 videos. 5 videos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. And hit like if you like them. Only if you like them. My brother Musa Abdullah is on his way. We're going to have a campaign getting him to monetization. We're going to do that as a community. Because Dr. Musa has been working with me on my show, Beyond the Talking Points, for almost a year. And he needs to be monetized. So let's make the effort, guys. Go to Beyond the Talking Points. Dr. Musa Abdullah. Watch 5 videos. And if you like them, hit like and leave a comment. All right. Dr. Musa is sponsoring this show tonight.
Next up with Tim Black.
A family massacre in Montana. A man killed 8 of his relatives, including 4 children, at a home in Billings before taking his own life. Victims ranged in age from a great-grandmother in her 90s to a 7-year-old girl. Police said that they responded to the home on Sunday evening and heard gunshots coming from out back just before the house was completely engulfed in flames. Police are investigating.
We see this in big cities, or we picture this happening in big cities.
Yo. You know what, fam? I've been doing this job too long. When I heard this man say he pictures this happening in big cities, the first thing I thought is he meant black neighborhoods. I don't know why I thought that, you know? That's the first thing that came to mind. That's some like code word for blacks. You know what I'm saying? Because big cities are diverse. Unlike this little white ass town in Montana. Yeah. That's just his way of saying, we don't usually do this. This is black shit. Isn't that what Brandon was saying? Yeah.
Not in Montana, and certainly not in Billings, Montana.
A mass shooting and destructive fire, killing 8 members of a blended family inside their home near Billings, Montana.
This is a house where you saw a family out front all the time.
Generations now gone. The victims include 4 children, ages 7, 12, 13, and 15. And 4 adults, a 92-year-old great-grandmother, 73-year-old grandfather, 72-year-old grandmother, and a 39-year-old mother.
There's shots fired at this location with responders on scene.
Loved ones are hailing 12-year-old Charlotte Hikari as a hero who called 911 to try to save her family. But authorities say they cannot confirm that just yet.
I don't think tragic is a strong enough word for this. It's worse than that. A family has been devastated and may never recover.
Police say the shooter is another member of the family, 44-year-old Alan Smith. He's accused of murdering his grandmother, parents, sister, nieces, and nephews at what was supposed to be a family dinner on Sunday before turning the gun on himself in the backyard.
The family deserves answers, and we want to give them those answers.
According to CBS News, the ex-husband of the slain mother and the father of 2 of the child victims lives in Arizona. He told reporters his ex-brother-in-law was recently asked by his parents to move out and described him as a hermit.
Some of this is the family story to tell and not law enforcement's.
And the Yellowstone County Sheriff said he was touched to see the family's personal Bible and most of a family photo album survived the carnage. And when you see all of the damage in some of the video we have, it's pretty remarkable. Live in studio, Michaela Marshall for Arizona's Family.
What'd she say? This is horrific beyond like measure. Jesus Christ. This is like the second story like this that I've covered, where something horrific beyond like your imagination, like your mind. If someone told you to write a story, it's horrific and it happens to a white family. Like I don't even know where to go in my brain to come up with something this heinous, you know? You killed great grandparents and kids. He killed children because he had to move out. Because he didn't want to move out. And the closing words of the segment, and mind you, like this young lady who just recited those words, she didn't write those words. Those words were written for her by that news program. They wanted her to say that. There was a Bible. It was on the table next to photographs. And it survived. What? None of the people did. But they got to pull something out of it to make it like, I don't even know the word for this, guys. Somehow they got to make it Christian or what the hell? This guy was a straight up coward, Joe. And what makes it worse, when the cops got there, the place was just starting to burn and the kids were inside. But he was outside with the gun and he was shooting. They could not get to him, so they couldn't go in the house because they were afraid. The cops were afraid to go in the house because this guy's got a gun and he's been shooting. So they had to try to get to him first, which delayed them attempting to rescue the kids and the adults. So they may have been able to save people, but they were not able to save people because they had to deal with his punk ass in the backyard. Now, I don't know how I feel about that because it sounds crazy. Sounded fun like the Uvalde shooting where they couldn't go in because they might have got shot. So in Montana, where it's like 99% white, they didn't want to go in to risk their lives and save the other white people. I'm just telling you what it is. And they got a call from inside the house from a child. So not only did they assume that there might be some kids there, they knew there were some kids there because a kid called the cops. That's a lot to unpack. It's a lot I'm saying. I know I'm saying a lot here. And that's not cool. But I'm just saying, I mean, that's how it seems to me. That's what I know. Here's something I also know, Facebook, YouTube, X, that I'm not seeing a whole lot of conservatives cover this story. Because they cannot blame a undocumented worker, a black person from a gang, pants hanging off his ass or something, or a Muslim, or a transgender basketball player. So, therefore, since there's none of them around, because there's nothing but white folks around, you'd have to blame white folks. Yeah. So you ain't going to hear much. You definitely, look, you got Brandon Tatum. If there would have been a black guy who just walked past his house at some point, Brandon Tatum would be blaming this on a black person. So obviously, it's no black people related. Him and Anton Daniels will be fighting over who gets to do this story first. Because that's how it works. So it should go without saying, but let's say this. My condolences to the family members who lost loved ones, because this piece of crap, piece of garbage, Alan Smith, killed everybody in the house. All because he didn't want to leave the house. And obviously, guys, this guy is something. He's I don't know. I makes you wonder who you let live with you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to stay here any longer. It's too, you know what I'm saying? It's too diabolical. It's too sinister, to stay here long, because it's bad mojo. You don't want to talk about that. But I'm just saying, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Dang it. Now I'm wondering, because Brandon says we can't talk about Target because Target had a minstrel show costume that they were selling on its website. We can't talk about that because we're black, and there was a shooting in Chicago, so we can't talk about both things. We can only talk about Chicago. How dare we be concerned about other things that happen when we should be focusing on Chicago, as if all of Black America live in Chicago. But I wonder, Brandon, you and Anton and Stephen A. Smith, why aren't you guys covering the shooting that happened in Montana? See, Stephen, that's bad when you get grouped in with those people, man. That's why you gotta make your choices, bro. Make your choices. All right, let's keep it going, Johnson. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this story. It's horrific. My condolences. Very sad story. Sorry. I'd rather, damn. What can you say? What were they serving for dinner? That this guy, what? He was a hermit. He was more than a hermit. He was a killer. He was a murderer. Hermit. All right, let's keep going, y'all. Everybody. I don't even think he's in the picture. I don't know. Son of a. I don't know. Alan Smith, he was 44. Damn. Wow, a lot of people are really going in the comment section. I mean, you guys. But I agree with this one though. Kick them out in the right way. This will build it up before this happened. This was a build up before this happened. Yeah. Sounds like drugs. I don't know, Black Rose.
Next up.
Damn. Locked the children in the room for 4 years.
With Tim Black. No filters, just the truth.
Ron DeSantis had this attack on woke, this stop woke, because he wants people sleeping. He wants to ban the ability for us to go out and protest, the way in which we can wake people up and do mass protests and mass mobilizations.
No, that's not why. See, this is the thing. This is a popular Democrat. And this is what I mean by, these horrible stories, these horrible narratives that are pushed by the Democratic Party. That's not it. That's not why. It was because it was a buzzword that was working, and there's an entire group of people out there that want to buy merchandise, and they were buying into the narrative that woke was destroying America, which made it very lucrative and a great business model to be on the opposite side of that. If you were a politician, an author, a musician, whatever you are or were at that time, it was good business sense. Just like identical to when in 2020, it was good businesses to be on the other side. Get it? At one point, it was very positive for your financial backing to be Black Lives Matter, to be pro, at least in rhetoric, with the buzzwords. It was a big boon. I mean, it was good for business. And that's why they did it. That's it. But see, if you are her, you gotta lie. Because if you say Ron DeSantis was on that bullshit because it was lucrative and it was beneficial to his bottom line to be that way, a person with common sense might think, oh, that's why he did it. He's not a racist. Oh, he may be not, who knows? But his real impetus, the motivating factor, is that his business model, this was better for his business model, and he's a businessman overall, or he's a politician, a career politician who wants to further his career. Smart people might be able to sum up that it applies the other way. And that's why you keep the lie going. And see what I'm saying, folks? This is why when we uncover narratives, it's important because as you uncover narratives, you free people up so they can focus on the real shit. It's not that I'm defending Ron DeSantis. It's not that I'm defending Republicans or conservatives. I'm exposing both of them because it both applies. It's the game. And once you get the game, you understand the game, then we got a chance to win the game. But if you don't understand the game, if you don't even realize the game is being played and you're part of the game, well, then we have no chance at winning the damn game.
Trying to make it so that people could run folks over in the street if they blocked the street while they were protesting. And it is them attempting to stay in power and control. And the reason they want to stay in power and control, Melissa, is because they realize that there's a new rising majority of like Black folks, like Latinos, people of color, women, folks who've been marginalized, and they realize that we make up this new majority.
Yeah, women don't be voting with y'all though. Women vote with the Republicans. So your whole premise falls apart, man. They just be saying stuff and people just be nodding along. Now, man, you don't have that coalition anymore. She's stuck in early 2000s with Obama. That shit left with Obama, yo. I mean, if it wasn't for COVID and people were able to vote with a bunch of mail-in ballots, Biden never would have won his one term. All right?
And if we come into power, they are fearful.
Yeah.
They're fearful that if this group comes into power, all these marginalized people, that they're going to do to them what they've done to many of us.
Marginalized. Now people that come to this country that aren't from this country and get opportunities in this country, they're marginalized. I thought they got to come up. How they marginalized? If anything, they are incentivized. They are economized. They are supersized. They are not marginalized. We're marginalized. Don't let the hair fool you. You can have black hairstyle and still be anti-black, but in a very covert way.
Us for hundreds of years. But history shows that that's not what happens when marginalized communities come into power.
Marginalized communities come into power.
No filters, just the truth.
Had to come out, I'm sorry. Okay, fine. Yeah, we got to be able to see past the nonsense. I mean, just because somebody says these buzzwords doesn't mean that applies to us or that it benefits us. Undocumented immigrants, they were not in the country for a couple 100 years, 300 years, whatever she just said. It didn't apply to them. It's like they take everything black and try to make it everybody. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. And it gets so tired. You know, I would rather really not have to go after sisters for this dumb shit, but they get so much mileage off of it, and we don't benefit from it at all. And if you're willing to tell these types of narratives, you're willing to feed the narrative machine with this type of nonsense, what are you going to do for us when you get in the office? Nothing. 0. Nothing. 0. Continue to camouflage and spin the narratives of your party and look for the next opportunity. And that's the problem why it deserves to be called out. Because at the end of the day, if you're only just going to go along with the talking points of the Democratic Party, we know what you're going to do when you get in there. You're going to do exactly what the Democratic Party's been doing for us. Nothing. All right. Tatiana Jefferson. Update. Fort Worth, Texas. City Council unanimously approved on Tuesday $11.25 million settlement for the family of Tatiana Jefferson, a 28-year-old black woman who was gunned down in her own home while babysitting her nephew in 2019. I covered this story. One of the most horrific stories, fam. Anybody who's unfamiliar with Tatiana Jefferson, she was babysitting her nephew. They were playing video games. And I know somebody left their door ajar, the front door of the house ajar. And the cops were called to the house because someone said they saw that her door was open. They didn't knock on the door. They saw the door was ajar. The cops, when they arrived, instead of knocking on the door and waiting for somebody to answer the door, they walked around the house and looked through the window and they saw Tatiana Jefferson playing video games, thought she had a gun, and shot her in her own house in front of her nephew and killed her. Tatiana Jefferson was killed in her own home playing video games with her nephew because of a wellness check that someone may have broken her house. It came from somebody outside of her house. I don't know if it gets any worse. I mean, it's pretty bad, Johnson. I mean, it's horrific. If I'm not mistaken, didn't the officers get, if I'm not mistaken, things in that they did not prosecute the officers. You know what? I gotta know, fam. I can't recall what happened. I know there was a lot of delays in the trial. I want to know what happened to the Tatiana Jefferson case. AI mode. All right, guys, this is important. So we know about the money. I want to know about what happened with the cops. So the police officer, he resigned. Dean resigned from the police force shortly after the incident and was charged with murder. Okay. Dean was sentenced to 11 years, 10 months, and 12 days in state prison. Okay, I was wrong. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, Dean resigned. Okay, so the officer that shot her was convicted. Okay, so this is not the case where they got off. I'm sorry, guys. I was wrong, and I'm so happy to be wrong about this. I'm so wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. He got 11 years for killing this woman in her own home. And now the family of Tatiana Jefferson gets that compensation. The nephew also got a settlement because he witnessed it. The nephew's settlement, the city previously approved a separate $3.5 million settlement for Zion Carr, who suffered the trauma of witnessing his aunt's death. So the $11.25 million agreement is for the estate. And the 3.5 that was already awarded to Zion Carr is a separate issue. Man, this stuff is crazy. Okay, let's keep it going, guys. I know you get tired of hearing me cough, but I had to do a show tonight. It's another horrific story. And even though I'm glad that the settlement for the parents and for the young man went the way it should have went, it does not bring back a Tatiana Jefferson. R.I.P. Tatiana Jefferson. I tell you, man. Who we got in the comment section, fam? Anybody talking about a Tatiana? Oh yeah, I covered it, man. I covered it back in 2019. I was livid about this story.
No filters, just the truth.
Next up, with Tim Black.
Favorable among New York Democrats. Look at this difference. Look at this difference. The net favorable rating for Ocasio-Cortez among New York Democrats, plus 46 points. Compare that to Chuck Schumer, who's only at plus 16 points. She is running 30 points ahead of Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the United States Senate, among her and his constituents here in the state of New York. My goodness gracious, what we are talking about is if Ocasio-Cortez decides, you know what, I don't want to run for president, I want to challenge Chuck Schumer in a 2028 Democratic primary for United States Senate. These numbers suggest that that primary challenge could be very, very real. And a lot of the numbers I'm seeing right now suggest she would actually be a favorite at this point if she, in fact, decides to take on Chuck Schumer. Again, this is a guy who was first elected to the United States Senate back in 1998, and now she's got a real chance to knock him off. What we're talking about is new days are here, especially for the very liberal part of the Democratic Party. It is their time to shine, at least if we're looking at the data.
30 points is...
Yeah, this is a quick hit, fam. I just want to update you on it. So it looks like, look, check this out. So I guess it's bigger than Chuck Schumer. It is time for Chuck and Clyburn. Take Clyburn with you. And take Benny Johnson, take him with you too. It's the time for the relics to go night-night. It's over, okay? Can't do everything forever, okay? That's it. And look, that doesn't mean I'm a fan of AOC, but hey, you know, the people of New York told you what they think, right? People of New York, they're tired of Chuck Schumer. They'd rather have AOC, and that's what it looks like. But here's the thing. What are the ramifications of 2028? That's going to mean that Kamala Harris, it's going to be between her and Pete Buttigieg. And what's the other one? Fake hair dude? Governor Newsom. Yeah, it's going to be between those three. I mean, I guess we'd always figured that. And then there's the dark horse, of course, of the one and only Wes Moore. Maybe he could, you know, open a data center in D.C. and make their electric bills go through the roof like mine have. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Next up, with Tim Black.
I've invited Don Lemon on this show. Don Lemon wants to talk privately.
Yeah, guys, Stephen A. Smith is still complaining about the NABJ award. And I'm gonna be honest, guys. I have a hard time giving a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? I'm covering it because it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing for Stephen A. to stay on this. They don't want to talk to you, son. Nobody wants to talk to you. But Stephen A. wants to complain about people. I want to talk to you, Stephen A. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to talk to people that want to crucify you. You don't want to talk to people that disagree with you. You want to talk to those people that you disagree with to try to clear your name. So it's funny. Yeah. I don't feel bad for them not coming on. He's got a whole list of people that won't come on his show.
First. But he said a whole bunch of things publicly. President Erin Haynes for NABJ. I've invited her on the show. She wants to talk privately. After she spoke publicly. I've invited Jasmine Crockett on the show. Crickets, I ain't hear a word. I've invited Kamala Harris on the show. Crickets, I ain't hear a word. Publicly. Privately, Kamala Harris and I already met face to face. Over a year ago. 2 hours. Why he brings that up? Michelle Obama has been invited on this show. Haven't heard a word.
Stephen A. Smith is really, oh man, he's really on his own. He's on his own ball spot, isn't he? He's on his own toupee, on his hairline. Listen, man, those people you just named turn down a lot of people all the time not to go on their shows. I'm pretty sure they all turn down invites. I mean, I've invited Jasmine Crockett on the show. She turned me down too. I mean, she didn't respond either. That's what they do. We think you special. He does think he's special. No, Stephen A. You're very unspecial. Hey, look, man, here's the deal, fam. You know, I've been critical of everybody that he's listed except the Haynes person. And I know there's a penalty for doing that. The penalty of being critical of Democrats is Democrats won't F with you. Ain't that right, big dog? If you criticize Democrats, they're not going to mess with you. That's what happens. Stephen A. Smith thought he was inoculated, immune. Nah, son. In fact, the fact that you had a humongous platform and still do, and you were calling out the Democrats, that makes you persona non grata. You know what I'm saying? Big time. It's just kind of pathetic that he thought he was so special that he could call out all these people and then they still want to be friends with him. You know, because it's just, it's just media. I don't know. He's been around long enough to know that's some bullshit. At least you would think so.
Kerry Champion and Jamel Hill have been invited on this show. I ain't got no problems. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have time to have hate in my heart.
And they don't have time to come on your show, so you're even.
I mean, maybe for one person who y'all all know, and I'll leave that alone. But outside of that, I really don't have time for hatred in my heart. I certainly don't hate any of these women. I've got nothing but love for them. Do you know that if Kerry Champion or Jamel Hill or any of those ladies wanted to meet with me, I would? Do you know if they wanted to come onto this show together, like me hosting a round table with these ladies? No problem. Car service, flights, all this stuff. I'll pay for you to come on in. Let's have a conversation. I'll be the only male in attendance if you want me to be with all of you together. If not one at a time. It's not a problem. If you ever needed my help, I'd be there. And if President Haynes, who I've never met, don't know, never spoke to in my life, had done the same and reached out, I would have done the same. From what my sources tell me, she's telling folks, including people who are mentors and friends of mine, members of the NABJ, that she reached out to me and I declined. That is a lie.
This guy's doing this whole show complaining about everybody. Damn, this is how I sound annoying, don't I? Now I get it. Yeah, when I'm on here complaining about people you don't even know. What's wrong with you, Tim? We don't care, Tim. I see that. This is horrible. At least you know these people. I be complaining about people you never even met, heard of. Don't know from a wet can of paint. Stephen A. hasn't got the memo. Nobody likes you, Chris. Everybody hates Chris. Everybody hates Smith. There you go. Let me say that again, y'all. Cause somebody gonna steal the shit. Everybody hates Smith. Sounds bad with my voice, man. It's real hard. That's hilarious.
It never happened. Never. That is false. It never happened. There's a whole bunch of people that want to meet with me privately but don't want to meet with me publicly.
Yeah, that sucks though. But the people that you want to meet with don't want to meet with you at all. Steve, man, he just late to the game, boy.
But I'm telling you, in those cases, they ain't reach out to me. That's a lie. And I declined to come. Me?
Stephen A, a big ass snitch. He up here snitching. Talk bad. They won't let me play. They won't let me in the game. You can tell. Look how they did me. Look, everybody, see how they do me. They hit me and bust my head. He hit me. Look what he did to me. She called me stupid. Said I dress funny. Help! Come on, folks. Look what they do to me. They said I'm slow. They called me slow. Dumbass.
Really? Stop it.
Full of shit.
Hey, man. Stephen A. Smith, you made a bid, you gotta land it, buddy. Yeah, you gotta land it, Stephen A. Stephen A. has now retracted one thing he said that people are pissed off about. It's not like he doesn't know what people are pissed off about. He knows. He doubled and tripled down, and then wants everybody to come on his show so he can talk about it. It's not gonna work. Look, man, you brought on all these conservative outcasts. You brought on your Anton Daniels and Brandon Scratum. You brought them on, and now that's good because that's your platform now. That'll be okay. That and the occasional hope that's gone. Yeah, that and the occasional Republican candidate or something, politician, that wants to reach other Republicans. Oh, here's the thing, Stephen A. If they can already reach the same audience that you're reaching, why should they come on your channel? You know what I'm saying? What I mean is the Republicans, they don't really have an incentive to come on your show because they can reach those people by going on Fox News. Yeah, you don't have a crossover show. You don't have a show. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a demographic watching you that's going to be advantageous for them to come on your show. I don't think you don't have a black audience. You have a white conservative audience. And those white conservatives, they can go anywhere. White and conservative people go. Why would they want to come on your show? I'm real talk, man. I'm not even, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even joking. I'm just pointing out the obvious. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the people that want to come on my show, or that are willing to, they're willing to come on the Tim Black show. They want to reach black people who are mostly independent, not Democrat or Republican. They're willing to have that conversation. And that's why. That's the benefit that this show gives them. That's the audience they can get in front of. But when it comes to you, Stephen A., what do you offer? Basketball fans, I don't know. Not anymore. Not for your political stuff. I just think you have not thought this through. You will not be able to sustain your meteoric rise in news commentary politics. You won't be able to. Nah, you're gonna drop off. You're gonna fall off, y'all. It no look good. It no good. Yeah, it looks bad. He down bad. He's going down bad. You might end up being on. You might end up. I also noticed you do not go on platforms where you're going to be challenged. You've been on sports platforms and conservative platforms, the conservative white platforms. Because that's the audience you're trying to reach. Anyway, that's it. Folks, let me know what you think. I think we're seeing the demise of Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, what goes up comes down. And there's always the old adage. When they break their toys, when they get done with you, they break their toys. Something like that. Yeah. Ain't nobody coming to save you, Steve. And look, and I support it. I support you calling things out. But it didn't take long for it to truly be evident that you were just playing both sides of the game and that you really had no core. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you were just kind of being a contrarian, but not really fighting for Black America. You know what I'm saying? You're not, you're just full of it. Folks, let me know what you think in the comment section. You think Stephen A. is on his way out? Because he down bad, in my opinion. Man, it's getting so bad, he might end up. He might end up losing ESPN. I'm serious, man. Like he's going to ostracize. I mean, what's his value? See, having big eyes, getting greedy, having inflated view of yourself has led you to a place where you are unpopular. You're notorious. Notorious forehead. What's a good one for Stephen A. Smith? Notorious LIAR. I don't know. I gotta come up with it. I gotta think about it. Notorious what? And notorious big. Anyway. What's up, people? Thank y'all for being here tonight, man. I appreciate y'all. He is definitely full of shit. Notorious full of shit. FOS. I don't know. I'll leave it with everybody hates Chris. Damn, that's not it. Everybody hates Smith. I think that wins. Yeah. Nobody wants to come on the show. He said, I'll fly you out. I'll be your hotel. I'll take pictures with me and son Hannity naked. What else I gotta do? I'll drink your bath water. What I gotta do? All right, that's it. I'm done. Thank y'all for being here tonight, man. I'm Tim Black. Go find me at timblacktv.com. Become a member by going to Patreon and finding me there. A real Tim Black on most of social media. I'm also Tim Black Show. The show is brought to you by Beyond the Talking Points. My co-host is Dr. Musa Abdullah. Go find him at All Things Education Official. Subscribe, watch 5 videos, leave 5 comments, tell them Tim Black sent you. I got nothing but love for y'all. See y'all Friday. By then, I hope to be 100%. Thank y'all for putting up with me. I know I'm 75%, but it's a good 75. I love y'all. As always, remember, stay bold, stay courageous, but most of all, stay dangerous. And with that, where are my girls at? Where are my ladies at? Where my girls at? Where my lady? Oh shit, here they go. Video. There you go, there you go. There go my people, that's my little brother. He ain't so little no more. Baby, you cannot be in the sink